Hello, everyone. I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to this series of question and answers from candidates for Missoula City Council in fall of 2023. I've invited all the 16 candidates for office to appear on this show, and the folks you're going to see on the series are those who decided to take us up on the offer. Additionally, I want to indicate that as part of the series, we're going to have Bradley Seaman on, who is the election supervisor for Missoula City and County. And Bradley and I are going to talk about the mail-in ballot process and what you can do with your ballot when you get it in the mail, or what you can do if you don't get a ballot in the mail. So in this episode, we're going to visit with Sean Patrick McCoy. He is running for a seat representing Ward 6. So there is a map available online. It's a little hard to see, but if you don't know what ward you're in, don't be ashamed. Just go to Missoula County, Missoula City, City Council wards, and you'll see a map that will let you know what ward you're in. So, Sean, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you did. So all the candidates are asked the same questions. There's 4 of them, and I really just formulated them as jumping off points for you to say really what you want to say about your campaign.
Outstanding. Thank you.
You're welcome. So here's your first question. What motivated you to seek this office?
So I think what motivated me is the same desire I've had to serve my community throughout my entire life. So from starting out, joining the military at 17, going to boot camp at 18, and serving 4 years in the Navy. Then I went immediately into wildland fire, where again I see that as a public service to my community. And then following that, I got into college and activism and worked a little bit in journalism, was studying law and English, felt like that was all community related. And then after graduating, getting into small agriculture and organic agriculture, and then again, seeing that as like community related and service. And for me, this is really just a continuation of what I've been doing my whole life. And so my kids are old enough and my family's in a good place for me to try to run for city council.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And so if you are elected, what would your top 3 priorities be in office?
So I think thinking about this question, I wanted to answer more specifically for Ward 6. And I think the top priority right now is the houseless shelter on Johnson and North. And I think if I were to be elected, that would just immediately become my number 1 priority, because that neighborhood just really can't do more than what we're already asking of them. And, it's pretty clear that this is going to happen. The shelter is going to take place and we're going to have it for a year, but there's a strong group out there that wants a 1-year commitment. And I feel like that's a good plan. And so my first priority would be to get in there and work on where are we moving from here? We can't continue to ask this neighborhood to bear this burden on their own. The city has to come together as a whole and work on that. And then after that, it's kind of a lot of what a lot of us are focusing on. I think taxes is going to be, top 3, and looking at ways for us to tighten up our budgets and see if we can keep from increasing taxes over the next few years. I know we got the fire levy, and as a former firefighter, I'm 100% behind that. But we've got to make sure that we're keeping these at a minimum, because folks are just maxed out, whether it's levies, taxes, you name it. And we've got to hear that. As public representatives, we have to hear that and act on it. And then I think third, priority would be a little bit more what a lot of people talk about, just the nuts and bolts. Are we getting our streets plowed very well?
Yeah.
What's going on with our sidewalks? What's going on with our streets, our potholes? There's a lot of discussion within our ward about cut-throughs and how all the changes in the city have increased traffic within the neighborhoods, how to deal with some of those issues, just everyday things that Missoulians are thinking about outside of the big stuff, the things that are really impacting us. So I think those would be right in my top 3.
Okay. What did you learn on the campaign trail? I don't know if you've had a lot of experience. Amber was, just in. and said, well, I'm really just starting. So I don't know. I thought, oh, maybe I should have asked that question differently or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question because, I'm new to this a little bit. Technically, I was in a race last year and realized how hard it was.
Mm.
And that's one of the same lessons this year. It's a lot of work. Um, I run a farm, a small urban farm here in Missoula, Frank's Little Farm. I'm primary childcare for our 2 kids, and I'm also now running this campaign, and it's a lot of work. So that's one of the first realizations.
There's a lot of work.
Yes, is the workload. And then I think the second thing I would point out is more of a reassurance of getting to know my neighbors more, broadening out and talking to more people, and just having it re-verified that Americans are not as far apart as we are being told on a regular basis. We are much, much closer together on most things than we are on not.
Yeah.
I mean, just when you get down and start talking to people one-on-one, we agree on most things. Even, if you've got some differences, there's common ground. And I think that's one of the most important things to highlight is we need more positivity in politics and focusing on what we have in common.
Yeah.
And that's what I find out there.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I suppose that's one of the foibles, of having like just 2 parties, is each party says we're different. Oh, no, we're different. They're the bums. No, they're the bums. It gets negative and divisive. And as you say, it may not be a true mirror of the community at all.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's a true mirror. And I also think it's that's a chosen style of leadership. You can focus on what divides us, or you can focus on what unites us. And we have a political class right now that is focused more on what divides us because that maintains their power. And what we need is good leadership who's willing to start stepping up and focusing on what unites us. And, a little more to the middle. We've got a little too far tacking to the right and left, I think.
So here's your final question. We're not working you too hard. What would you like potential voters to know about you?
So let's see. That's a good one. There's so much, in one's life. I think one of the main things is that although I'm not originally from Montana, I was born and raised in this area. I'm from southern Idaho, Pocatello originally, and that I have a long history with Missoula. My dad was from northern Idaho. I've traveled through it my whole life. When I was, a 9-year-old kid, I saw the smoke jumpers jumping out of their airplanes, driving north, right? Just an iconic scene. And 20 years later, I got to be one of those smoke jumpers and got to boost Missoula and jump fires out of Missoula. So mostly I just want people to know that I have a really long background and that I think I represent a very well-rounded individual that has done a lot of different things and can speak to a lot of different parts of our community. And that's one of the things that I rely on to connect with people is that I've got a background in the military, in fire, with first responders. I hunt, I fish, I recreate outdoors.
You got a farm.
I got a farm. And I believe strongly in a good work ethic. And almost all of those things can connect with somebody. And so mostly I want people to know that I'm a very well-rounded person and I'm personable and that I will work really hard. That is the one thing I know how to do well is work hard, and that's what I bring to the table, along with some very strong leadership skills from that background. I've been trained by some of the best in the nation to help others succeed to their highest potentials and lead people, and that's what I hope to bring.
Great. Well, thank you, Sean, so much for taking the time to be with us today. And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to learn about Missoula City Council Ward candidates. We've been visiting with Sean Patrick McCoy, who is running for a seat in Ward 6. And as I mentioned, you can find out your wards, from the handy internet or call the library. MCAT, these studios are located in the beautiful new Missoula Public Library at 455 East Main. And the phone number is 721-2665, 721-BOOK. And there's a reference department for free here. So if you don't like the internet, just pick up the phone and call and say, this is my address, what ward am I in? And they'll tell you. So You can learn more about it at missoulavotes.com if you like. Oh, and I forgot to ask Sean if you had any website or Facebook or something you wanted people to check out.
Yes, I do. So I have my website is Sean Patrick McCoy, numeral 4, then Ward numeral 6. So Sean Patrick McCoy, 4 Ward 6.com. And then pretty much everything is under that name. I'm on social media, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, so maybe go to the website. And I think,
Yes.
Scott, you were able to put it up, right? So Scott showed it to the folks at home.
Outstanding.
From what you had said. So that's it for Sean Patrick McCoy Award 6, and we'll see you with another candidate really soon. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.